they're setting it up for you guys, the younger generation, to take the hit. They see a church that's on fire for God. That's the church that gets targeted.
You're in the worship saying, praise Jesus.
We are the army of God. We'll dare to discuss what most churches never will, and strive always to speak the truth in love. We are watchmen, warriors, victors. Together, we will fight the good fight and finish strong. This is David Hebner Live.
W's. Wake up, watch, and warn. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do in these last days. We're to wake up, which if you're here with me, you're either here by mistake or you're awake. Not woke, but awake. Watch. We observe what's going on. Not like most Christians. They got their head in the sand on Sunday morning. And then you warn. Most people don't get to the place of warning. Why? Because there's too much fear going on. There's too much going on. You ever... Okay. I was going to say something, but I'm not, because I'll probably get kicked off the air. All right, so I retract that. Thank you, Lord. Hey, everybody, I'm David. Good to be with you, David Hebner here. Thank you for being with us every week. We're on our 5th year. All right, you ever look around lately on the news? I do. I every day I'll surf and I'll go, this is crazy. Look what's happening in the world. Look what's happening in the United States. Look what's happening amongst the people. Have people lost their mind? Have they gone crazy? But then you dig deeper and you go, wait a minute. There's no way that this can be natural. It has to be supernatural event. I'm talking about the government. I'm talking about finances. I'm talking about, law enforcement. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Law enforcement, judiciary, Department of Injustice. Have you looked at what's been happening to God's people getting drug off to jail? You watch people that are trying to do good and they get persecuted. Right now, it's happening, folks. And you look and you go, how can law enforcement enforce something that shouldn't be enforced? How can they enforce such evil? And I'm not talking about all law enforcement. I have a nephew. He's a cop. Good guy, great guy. But I said to him, what are you going to do the day they come and tell you to go and arrest your own sister, your own brother? And he said, well, that ain't going to happen. Yeah, right. So I'm talking about law enforcement tonight. Now, David, don't give me this stuff. Oh, the girl was black and they shot through the window and they killed her. And it's not what I'm talking about. Although there is something to talk about on that, but that's not the direction I want to go. I'm not talking about BLM. I'm not talking about the woke movement. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about justice. I'm talking about how can law enforcement enforce laws that should not even be enforced. Have you ever been in trouble with the law? I want to ask you. If you have, I want to see it in chat. Have you been in trouble with the law? Have you been mistreated lawfully? Have you been in court and the wrong ruling happens? You've had something come against you and you go, or you've watched it and you said, how could this happen? It's plain to see this person is innocent, but yet they declared him guilty, or this person is guilty and they say they're innocent. Folks, the Bible talks about this in these last days. It talks about people will be lovers of themselves. I want to go to a video on David Hebner. Spencer, you out there with me, buddy?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, would you be so kind to read the scripture tonight? It's 2 Timothy what?
4:2. 2 Timothy 4:2.
4:2. Would you read that for me, please?
Yes, sir. It says, preach the word. Be prepared in season and out of season. Correct, rebuke, and encourage with great patience and careful instruction.
Somewhere in there it says, do the work of an evangelist. What's the next verse on that? Does it say do the work of an evangelist?
Yeah, verse 5 says, "But you keep your head in all situations, endure hardship, do the work of an evangelist, discharge all the duties of your ministry."
Yeah, that's right. You guys are evangelists. I am someone's last evangelist. You are someone's last evangelist. Do the work. And this is what we're doing. DavidHeavener.tv. It's our private platform for members only, because I can speak truth here. I don't have to worry. You don't have to look over my shoulder. And when you sign up as a member, and many of you have, God bless you, I appreciate it. Over 900 videos telling the truth. Some of these videos I can't put out, only on this platform, or I'll be gone. Okay? Go to DavidHeavener.tv, Spencer. We're going to go to the Russ Dizdar tribute channel. But you can see, before you do that, there's other channels here. There's the Livestream channel. There's the Russ Dizdar tribute channel, David's Choice, Spotlight, Spiritual Warfare Training, Recommended, Alien Demon Connection, a lot of L.A. Marzulli stuff there. Last Evangelist TV series channel, only place you can see Last Evangelist, The Coming Holocaust, and on and on and on. But I want to play this one video that is on the Russ Dizdar channel. It deals with program multiples in society today. People that are programmed to do certain things. And I'm going to touch on this with my guests in just a moment. Let's play how they escape their crimes. Auschwitz, in your city, programmed to kill. Play it.
So I believe that program multiples have been deployed in U.S. military, government.
But in that camp was a man who was from the pits of hell. They call him the angel of death.
So they're literally rewriting your with foreign code that we don't know.
By design, placed. And many of them are sleepers.
If you were under 13 or over 60, you couldn't work, you went into the gas chamber. Did you hear it? They're sleepers, folks. We've got program multiples, people that have been programmed by SAR groups, satanic ritual abuse. They've been programmed and placed all through society, that they're called sleepers. And at one point, something's going to happen. There's a trigger that wakes them up. They're going to do what they need to do. I believe it's happening now. If you look around, and I'm talking specifically law enforcement, because certain things don't make sense. They just don't make sense. And by the way, you can watch the full video on the Russ Dizdar tribute channel on DavidHeavener.tv. Go there and sign up. If you do, then you can go with us underground in about 30 minutes with my guest. And speaking of my guest, April 20th, 2017, he's coming home. It's like any other night. Gets to his front door and all of a sudden, smack. Gets pistol whipped. Tied up for 2 hours. But why? And what was the outcome? This is what we're going to talk about. I want you to stay with me on this. It's important. My guest is Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, you there with me, buddy?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for being on. I appreciate it, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this and dive into it. And I know it's a sensitive subject for you. And for you guys out there listening, I want you to be praying for us. Pray for Jonathan that the right words come forth, and that there's a reason. God has reasons for everything. And I believe something will be discovered, uncovered tonight. So Jonathan, take me back to April 20th, 2017. You're coming home, you get to your front porch. There's guys standing on your front porch. How many guys are there?
Actually, there was 2 people, and I was walking to the door, and they came from behind. I was ambushed. I had no idea that they were there. And so they hit me from the back. I still don't know what's going on. And then they're pushing me into my home. And then, I turn around and they're 2 masked men. And they're pushing me in, closes the door, and put me in a chair, and then they duct tape me.
Okay. And these were men?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so why did they, what was the reason when you were sitting in the chair being duct taped? And by the way, they were masked. You couldn't tell who they were. What did they tell you why they were doing what they were doing?
And so my eyes were duct taped as well, so I couldn't see anything. I was like, my hearing was so heightened, so I was just listening to everything, listening to the footsteps and all that. But no, so like 6 months, I was engaged to my fiance for 9 years. We had a really, really bad falling out, a really bad breakup. And she had made some threats that, something like this would happen. She started dating this guy named Quantez Gibson. Quantez Gibson was a convicted felon who had went to prison for something like this before. And we had called the police. We had put an EPO out against her. And
okay. No, listen, I want to get into this, but I want to dissect it piece at a time. First of all, Jonathan, you're a Christian.
correct.
Okay. You're also a publicist, a celebrity publicist. So you've had chart-topping songs as a producer. You've been out there. You're not just some guy that doesn't know anything, know anybody. You've played in the big time with the entertainment business.
Correct.
When you're sitting in that chair and you're blindfolded and taped up and handcuffed and tied up, what are they saying to you? Do you have any idea why they're doing this?
Yeah, so they're looking for this. They're looking for a safe that only my ex knew about. We kept a lot of cash in the safe.
Okay.
And so I kept telling them, it's not here. It's at my parents' house in the basement, which it was.
Okay.
And, they kept tearing apart my stuff, looking for it. But while I was duct taped, that's when I really was like convicted, because I started to think about, as you mentioned, being a celebrity publicist, I started to think about the content and some of the stuff that I had put out, like over the years. So it's like, people would hire me to do work, and I really wouldn't listen to it or watch it, but I was still promoting it, not really fully aware of, a lot of gangster rap music, a lot of stuff. And it was just my job,
Right.
So I started to think, like, while I was duct taped, like, this is the energy that I put out is now right here at my doorstep. And now I'm duct taped with some of the same type of music that I've promoted,
Right. So at first you're going, well, maybe it's because I put this stuff out and they think I have a lot of money. They want to come and rob me, or they don't like what I put out. I offended somebody. But you were trying to filter out what's the reason they were doing what they were doing. But they asked you about the safe. Did that cross your mind that maybe was she an ex-girlfriend at the time, or were you still with her?
She was an ex-fiance at the time.
Okay. So sitting in the chair, did you understand that she was behind this, or what did you think was happening?
I did. And
Okay.
I also thought, well, it's going to end here, because they kept taunting me with the guns. I could feel them putting it up to my head and stuff like that.
Right.
And I thought, well, if it ends here, at least I'm going to get justice now for all the stuff that she was doing with her boyfriend.
Yeah. So how long had you been separated or broken up from your ex-girlfriend before this happened?
6 months.
Okay. How long were you with her?
9 years.
9 years. Okay. And so during the 6-month period, you all had, I assume, was it a bad breakup? Did you have cross words with each other? Did she threaten you? Did she say anything that would lead up to you thinking that something like this could actually happen?
It was a terrible breakup. Both of us were, saying a lot of, like, hitting below the belt with a lot of different things. This is over text because she was in Indiana. So both of us were out of control. But she did make some comments that were alarming. And she got with my neighbor, who I told you is the guy Quantez Gibson, who's now in prison.
Right.
That's when it got scary. And we did everything possible, that we could to prevent this from happening.
Okay. So why did you guys split up?
We split up because just a whole bunch of reasons, mainly my daughter. She wasn't accepting of her at all, or she had a lot of jealousy. So
Okay. How old was your daughter at the time?
She was 14.
Okay. Was she living with you?
She was also pistol whooped, ambushed, and she was next to me while I was duct taped.
Oh, so your daughter was with you and you were ambushed, and she
Correct.
was also duct taped.
Correct. And she wasn't duct taped. I was.
What? Okay. Could she see them? Did they tape up her eyes?
They didn't tape her up, but I didn't know that when I was duct taped. So
Okay.
I'm listening to her and listening to them and everything.
Okay. All right. So one of the guys that was doing this to you, did they have a relationship with your ex-girlfriend?
They did.
They did. Okay.
Mhm.
Was it a intimate relationship or were they just friends?
A lot of people would said at the time that it was intimate, and she was coming to see him in Louisville, and they would stay the night together. But I really don't know.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
I couldn't tell you for a fact.
Okay. So not only fearing for your life, but fearing for your daughter's life, right?
Correct.
Okay. But at that time, sitting there in the chair, you realized that somehow they were connected to your ex-girlfriend, that maybe somehow she put them up to it?
Correct.
Okay.
I knew.
Okay. All right. So at this point, because you went to church, by the way, what kind of church did you go to, if you don't mind me asking?
Christian Church, Southeast Christian Church.
Southeast Christian. That's like in Louisville, Kentucky, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So in Southeast Christian, do they talk about demons? Do they talk about demonic warfare, casting out demons? Did you get any of that teaching growing up?
Not as much as I should have.
Yeah. Okay. Do you believe that demons were at play here? I'm talking about not good versus evil, Jonathan, because you and I haven't talked about this. But first of all, do you believe in demonic warfare? Do you believe in the demons are active today?
Absolutely.
Okay. Were you thinking that at the time when this happened? Did you bring the spiritual realm into it? I mean, I know that's, you might say, no, I didn't. And it's okay, because I don't know that I would either. When you're freaking out and your daughter's there with a gun next to her head, it's hard to, but did that cross your mind?
No, I was just trying to stay as strong as possible, because I knew for sure I thought for sure I was going to die. So I didn't want, and that I was hoping that she would stay alive. So I didn't want her to remember her last thoughts of me as like begging for my life or crying. So I just stood there and tried to speak logic to the guys.
Right. So when we come back, we're talking to Jonathan Hay, by the way, and he was pistol whipped. Two guys followed him to his home, 2017, April 20th, and tied him up in a chair along with his daughter, 14-year-old daughter at the time. And we're going to find out who was behind it and what's really the underlying cause, folks. We're not going to just focus on the flesh. We're going to talk about program multiples and demonic influences, the dark world, the spiritual world. Okay, so I want you to stay with me, because we're going to dissect this. We're going to find out what happened. Obviously, he got out of it, but did anybody ever have to pay the price? And anyway, stay with me. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each
actually,
and
I did
every
these
one of you for your
My
support
Pillow
by
and,
bringing you the My
card
Pillow that
donation
started
first.
it all.
Back to you, folks.
My Pillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs regardless of your sleep position. Because it works, we've
I
sold
did
over
hear it
70
briefly,
million
but
My
not
Pillows,
consistently.
and now I'm bringing it to you for the lowest
Yes, I
price
can.
ever. For example, you get my standard My Pillow now only $19.88 with your promo code.
You should
Now's
just be able
the
to
time
click
to get
mouse
them for your
over
friends, your
or click
family, your
on the
neighbors, everyone
video
you know.
player and-
My Pillows make the best gifts ever. In the times we're in, one thing we all need is getting a
Should
great
still
night's
turn it
sleep.
down on the way
So
up,
go to
sure.
mypillow.com or call that number on your screen now. Use your promo code and you'll get my standard My Pillow for only $19.88. For a more custom fit, my Premium Queen, only $24.98. Or my Premium King, only $29.98. This is a limited time offer, so order now.
When my parents left us their home, we weren't sure what to do with the property.
Do you have land, residential, or commercial property you're not using? Donate it and support a great cause. You may even qualify for a sizable tax deduction.
It feels good to be able to give back, and they would have loved that too.
Your real estate donation can make a real impact. Call us toll-free or visit us online.
Hey everybody, well this concludes our time together. If you'd like to support the ministry, please go to davidheavener.tv/give or call 844-806-0006 or text the word chosen to 91999. Don't forget to share this broadcast, and I love you.
2, 1, you're on.
Okay, yeah, try MyPillow. Go to mypillow.com. Order. The stuff is great. Use the name code name David7. You'll get a discount, and it'll bless the ministry. Also, if you have that old car or new car or even real estate, trailer, boat, whatever, call 855-805-RIDE, 855-805-RIDE, or go to davidheavener.tv/car. It'll bless the ministry. It'll bless you because you can get a major tax write-off. All right, what are we talking about? We're talking about specifically crime against Christians. My guest is a Christian. I'm talking specifically about law enforcement. Why is it that law enforcement at times will enforce laws that don't even exist, make it up, or there's laws that they don't enforce, period, and people aren't paying the price? Do you follow what I'm saying? This is important, folks. In these last days and times, the good will be bad, the bad will be good. Everything's all mixed up, all messed up. Confusion. So my guest is Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, you there, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're tied to a chair. They followed you home. They pistol whipped you, put you in your house, tied you and your daughter, 14-year-old, to a chair. Want to know where the safe is. At this point, you're wondering who in the world are these guys, but then all of a sudden, boom, it hits you. It's your ex-girlfriend. So tell me what happened. How long were you tied up? How did you get out of it? Did they get the money? What happened?
So we were held for 2 hours. And like I said, during that time, it was, time went by fast. Like when I think about it, didn't seem like 2 hours. And eventually they ended up leaving because I promised them that the safe isn't here. That's what it took them so long to go through my place for 2 hours. I said, this safe is at my parents' house. So I was like, if you guys come back, I'll get you the safe. So I gave my debit cards, and they went actually and used my debit cards, gave my PIN number, so they, to build some trust. And I figured, if they're going to actually be this dumb to use my, debit card, there's going to be cameras on all, the debit machines. We'll be able to get them. Sure enough, they went to a strip club downtown in Louisville, Kentucky, and they accessed my debit cards, which worked. They got money out, and they spent it in the strip club.
I mean, how stupid can somebody be? Not you, them.
I know.
Okay, so you don't have to answer this because I don't want to incriminate you if it is incriminating. But how much money was in the safe, or how much did they think was in the safe? Did your girlfriend think was there?
$25,000.
All right. So you believe that it was your girlfriend put them up to it, said, go to my ex-boyfriend, beat him up, scare him. There's a safe there. He'll give you 25 grand. And boom, that was it. That was the reason for this whole thing, right?
See, I don't know because I've never talked to her. She knew that there was $25,000 in the safe. I don't know if she had confided in the other guy who's in prison now. I really don't know. There's been no answers,
Okay. So the guys got caught, right?
Correct.
Okay. And they went to prison?
They all pled guilty to kidnapping and robbery charges.
Okay. Of course, you called the police, right, when this happened?
I did.
And they came, and when they first got there, were they shocked, or was it just another crime scene, or what'd you think?
It was just another crime scene. They didn't really take it serious because it's like, these guys came in your place, they left, and law enforcement in St. Matthews and in Louisville is not what it should be.
Yeah.
So when I went over to the St. Matthews Police Department the next day, with duct tape still in my hair, a detective took on the case. But after listening to the case files, it seems like they were more interested in me than them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, did they know you were a Christian?
They did not.
They didn't. Okay. Did they know you were in the music industry, that you were a famous producer, that you had all these Billboard records?
They did.
They did. Okay. Did you have a police record at the time? Had you ever been arrested?
No, never.
No. Okay. But you had your daughter with you. I mean, they were concerned about your daughter as a 14-year-old, juvenile. I mean, did they?
They were, but not enough.
Okay.
So 7 days later, the guy would call me, and I downloaded this app where I'd record the phone calls. And so I would send those messages to the police. And we set up a sting operation. The police did, and they arrested the guy, and then they got the other two.
Okay. All right. So you said there were two guys, though, that were there at your house, but I'm counting three. Where'd the third guy come in?
So the third guy was the guy, Quantes Gibson. He's the one who set it up. He's the one who got charged for the masterminding of it.
Okay.
And he was the one who was allegedly dating my ex-fiance.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Right.
So allegedly means that you're not sure, or you're sure you just can't prove it.
David, I really don't know.
Okay. Why did you think that he was dating her? How did you ever connect her to it?
Because he was with a woman. The four of us were like all good friends. His woman was good friends with my ex. And, from hearsay, his woman was saying that something was going on. She saw some text messages, and they were inappropriate, But the crazy thing about all this is my ex, she was a strong Christian. Her family was a strong Christian. We had a swear jar in our home. She didn't do she wouldn't drink. She wouldn't do drugs. If we would go see a movie, she would make sure there was not any kind of sexual suggestive scenes. She was but she had this really strong jealousy. So after it happened, it really, after the whole incident happened, it really confused me, because her mom was also a strong Christian. So when you talk about prophetic word and, praying out demons, her mom would do that all the time.
Her mom would pray out demons.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the jealousy. How chronic was the jealousy? You mentioned she didn't really want you around your daughter who was living with you. What was that all about? How extreme was this jealousy?
It was extreme. It was almost like she was the other woman.
She was another one. She wasn't herself. There were like two people living in her.
No, I was saying my daughter, she would act like this was another woman in our relationship, not my daughter. So I had a joint custody with my mother, who's a block down the street. So I would always keep them separated, as best as possible. And then as she got older and she could ride her bike over, I couldn't keep it separated anymore.
Okay. So when I talked about she became a different person, this ex-girlfriend, I won't mention her name, she's a Christian, goes to church, her mother cast out demons. She's, I'm sure you guys prayed together, read the Bible together, and yet here she comes popping up with a personality that's very jealous. Extremely jealous, not just jealousy, right?
Correct.
Okay. Does she almost seem like another person? Where'd that person come from?
Yes.
Okay.
And incredibly vindictive.
Incredibly vindictive. Did she curse when she get mad?
No.
Okay. What would she do when she got mad?
She would I take that back. During our heated, text exchange, when it got really bad, we were both cussing at each other, though. I was just as bad,
Okay. So I want to touch on the sexuality. you mentioned something about there was an issue with that. Did she display any sexual behavior that was a little odd, or was that world normal?
Odd.
Odd. Okay. Now you and I haven't talked, so I want to make sure people understand that. Now I know, you don't have to answer certain things, and maybe there's ways you can answer where we can understand it, but in what way was it odd? What was the odd way in the world, in the sexual world?
So anytime, like, even if we were watching like the Super Bowl or any kind of show, and any kind of commercial that came on, she would make you look the way, even if it was like two people like kissing or showing like a, shower, not a shower scene, but like a soap scene, look away. So one time the whole family was together, her whole family, which is two sisters, and we were watching the Super Bowl, and a commercial came on that wasn't, that racy. Maybe it was a little racy. And all the guys' head turned to the right. I was like, wow, this is like a real thing, like in the family, so
wow. Yeah. Wow.
No.
So you're sitting there and her whole family, and all of a sudden something comes on that might be a little risque. I say might. All of a sudden the guys' heads turn almost at the same time, because they do it because they kind of been doing it for years.
Right. And I was too, because I turned and I see everybody else turn, and I was like, wow.
Okay. All right. I have a reason for asking this question, and I'll tell you in just a moment, but did she have problems sexually? Was there anything else going on besides that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know anymore with what happened. Everything is in question.
Okay. So what I'm hearing, without going any deeper, is I'm hearing toxic shame. There's shame brought on people to the point where God created sex. God, it's a beautiful thing when it's done within matrimony, when it's, and by the way, were you all living together?
We were.
You were?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there was no sexual relations.
Okay. All right. Did her parents have a problem with you all living together? I mean, did she explain that you all
She
slept?
did.
She did. Okay.
She did. Her parents came down. She saw there was like separate rooms and.
Yeah. Right. But you see, a lot of times when people have problems sexually, trying to digest something, understand it, there's a lot of shame, a lot of toxic shame, and it usually comes from childhood, when they're shamed either from sexual abuse, or they're exposed to something that their little mind can't handle. They're still trying to process it. Do you think, because you mentioned her mom cast out demons, do you think there was something going on with her family?
It's funny that you say that. I don't know.
I'm just saying what I'm getting right now, brother.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people have suggested that. I don't know. It's just been the whole thing has been very strange, because even though it's been that long ago, she still continues to be the aggressor.
How many years ago has that been?
It'll be 7 years come April.
And does she try to contact you?
No, it's a lot worse. So like after that incident happened, I was like galvanized, and that's when, I started to do just jazz music. I wouldn't do anything with any kind of lyrics. It's just all instrumental music. And, so we had a lot of success, and the success, I think, would make her jealous. This is assumptions. But, she took out like a warrant for me in Indiana, and that was, thrown out. But then she sued me for $2 million.
She sued you for $2 million?
Correct. And she won the judgment just this year.
Okay. What'd she sue you for? What was the
slander?
Slander?
After it happened, I was broken. So I would be on my Facebook, and I would just be like, venting about what happened, venting for anybody to listen, desperate to get some kind of law enforcement, desperate to get answers. And so all that was used against me. And every lawyer that I've spoke to is like that the judgment was extreme because people lose their limbs, people lose all that. And then she got a $2 million judgment against me.
Yeah. Are you afraid she might try to be vindictive since you're on this show? You haven't talked about this really until now.
I haven't.
Okay. Are you still concerned about her?
I'm concerned about everything.
Okay.
Because everything I've done successful has led to some kind of retribution.
Okay. Is your daughter okay?
She is.
Okay. Now, I'm just asking you questions. I'm getting kind of vibes and so forth. Do you believe, Jonathan, you're dealing with demons, that you have been dealing with? This is demonic activity?
For sure.
Okay. So there were people arrested, yet you told them, and you believe she was connected to law enforcement, but yet did they ever question her, or did she ever come under any scrutiny?
She was never interrogated. And she was the one who I was, saying everybody at the police department knew her because they tried to intervene our relationship before this happened. Like they try to come in and, like get some of her stuff. One of the police officers did pick up some of her cameras, and I was shocked because the prosecutor actually told me that she was a person of interest. She was a suspect. They took her to the grand jury, but it was only circumstantial evidence. So of course I would post this up, praying to get a conviction, praying to get all this stuff, praying that there's justice. Well, come to find out, that's one of the reasons she won the lawsuit. She was never even interrogated. She was never brought to the grand jury. And the arresting police officer who arrested the three men, his name is Detective Jeff May, he was a witness for her.
The police officer was a witness for?
In the civil lawsuit for $2 million.
In the civil lawsuit. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Jonathan, I want you to stay with me. We're going to go underground. I'm going to take question and answers, and we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this. Jonathan, hey. Jonathan, thank you. You'll stick around with us, right, buddy?
For sure.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You guys, listen, I want you to go to davidheavener.tv and sign up. The only way you can go with this underground. Spencer, let's go to David Heavener TV and go to Russ Dizdar channel. I want to play one more video that we have uploaded on his channel. This is a tribute to the late great Russ Dizdar. It deals with program multiples. It deals with demonic activity. When we go underground, I'm going to lay out why I believe we're dealing with program multiples here in law enforcement, out about the world, things that happen to us. There are people, sleepers, that are planted, and I believe it's happening now, definitely dealing with demons. Spencer, play that Satan's soldiers are here, and it is astral projection, Russ Dizdar.
A lot of these program multiples and victims of SRAs have been programmed and designed for astral projection.
The Antichrist can do nothing without that. They have to have the soldiers to bring the chaos all the way to Armageddon, to fight, to engage, to release curses.
You believe now they're going to be making the move at any time. In other words, the stage is set.
Yeah, you can go see that full-length video on the Russ Dizdar channel. Go to davidheavener.tv. Over 900 videos on there. Okay, so go check it out. Sign up right now. If you'd like to support the ministry, make a donation. You can go to davidheavener.tv/give. Call 844-806-0006, or you can text the word chosen to 91999. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be going underground really soon, and we're going to be talking to Jonathan, and we'll be asking Jonathan, what is the outcome? At the end of the day, how did all this thing play out? Spiritually, I'm talking about. Spiritually. But we're going to go to a break, a commercial break, and I'm going to come right back with you before we go underground, so don't go anywhere. Hey everybody, I am honored and blessed not to have just one new book out, but 2 new books. That's right, 2 new books. The first one is End Times Investigation. I deal with Hollywood mind control. I deal with demon portals, the alien-demon connection, astral projection, program multiples, satanic ritual abuse, and much, much more. The things that I talk about in Last Evangelist and on my shows, all my interviews I do, it's right here in this book, especially my life story. Also, True Power, how to access your true power in these last days, okay? It's a war manual for God's children. We need to learn the enemy's tactics and how to battle the enemy in these last days. Pick up a copy of this book. Just text the word chosen to 91999, or you can go to davidheavener.tv/order, or you can simply call 844-806-0006. Listen, we have the new End Times DVD. It investigates End Times Investigation. I have a lot of my friends on here, Lisa Haven, Michael Lake, I have Josh Peck, L.A. Marzulli, Stephen Bancroft. I mean, 8 hours of me investigating things like Satanism, demonic powers, Illuminati, New World Order, Antichrist, one world religion, end times miracles, Bible prophecy. Folks, let me tell you something. One day, what you're watching us on right now, it's called television, it's called social media, it's called the internet. They're going to turn that baby off. You need a hard asset. When all this stuff gets shut off, this is what you're going to be able to learn from and to understand. So I want you to text the word chosen to 91999, or go to davidheavener.tv/order, or call 844-806-0006. The brand new DVD of Last Evangelist. You can get it right now. It's limited collector's edition. It's got the new episode on it, along with band videos with me and Michael Lake and Lisa Haven, Sheila Lazinski. Hey everybody, I am honored and blessed not to have just one new book out, but 2 new books. That's right, 2 new books. The first one is End Times Investigation. I deal with Hollywood mind control. I deal with demon portals, the alien-demon connection, astral projection, program multiples, satanic ritual abuse, and much, much more. The things that I talk about in Last Evangelist and on my shows, all my interviews I do, it's right here in this book, especially my life story. Also, True Power, how to access your true power in these last days, okay? It's a war manual for God's children. We need to learn the enemy's tactics and how to battle the enemy in these last days. Pick up a copy of this book. Just text the word chosen to 91999, or you can go to davidheavener.tv/order, or you can simply call 844-806-0006. Everybody, back with you. So we're talking tonight about law enforcement specifically, but the videos I've done on in the past with Russ Dizdar and many, many others is dealing with program multiples, how they're sleepers. They've been put out in society, not just in law enforcement, but government, financial, entertainment. Folks, they're here. And we're talking about people that have been programmed, possibly since birth, through satanic ritual abuse. Now, the people that we're talking about tonight, dealing with Jonathan, his ex-girlfriend, and everybody, I cannot put my seal of approval saying this is 100% accurate. Don't know them. All I'm doing is talking to Jonathan, getting his story. But what I'm saying is when something looks strange, when something's not right, wake up. Usually it's not. It's a spiritual manifesting into the flesh. And this is what we're dealing with today. We're dealing with principalities in high places, dark principalities. I want to bring on my wife, not because I'm talking about dark principalities. She happens to be an angel of light. Shanita, you out there? Well, you were out there. I don't know. I hope you didn't get kidnapped. Spencer, is my wife out there? Is she okay?
I am happy to be here.
All right, real quick. We got about 30 seconds. What praise reports, prayer requests?
Wow. Yeah, it's been quite a week. You all have been praying for Roberta, and God has answered her prayer. and you've been praying for Shelley, and that's in process. She is improving. And I have prayer requests that are coming in from Ireland, from Pakistan. And if you have a request tonight, just feel free to email it to admin@davidhebner.tv. Jonathan tells us, my grandfather was a preacher, and I've attended church, quote unquote, for quite some time. This is the first time I've heard this topic. I'm so grateful for your ministry. And yesterday's Sunday message, it really, really touched me. So for people who haven't had a chance to hear that yet, I encourage you to take a listen.
Yeah. Go to the live broadcast on Sunday before this. I deal with healing the inner child inside. And by the way, Shanita, I like your hat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, so any other prayer requests, praise reports?
Yes, from Christine up in New York. We were praying for her health, and God just did a miraculous intervention for her. And then we're praying for Sue, grieving the loss of her mom, and her surgery coming up, for Shelley's son, for Andrew's surgery Wednesday, for Riley's mom, for Roberta, for Kelly, for Lyle's grandpa, Ron, for Carmen, for Mira, for Sherry's hip, for Chris, Pete, and Nick, and for Anna's friend Cindy, for Sunshine's friend. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who is making the broadcast possible, and especially to our prayer warriors. You'll be meeting tonight, and we couldn't do this without you lifting the ministry up in prayer. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And so if people tonight want to sign up, davidhebner.tv, do they send you an email just for tonight so you can send them a link? And then from now on, they'll always get the link. What email would they send?
Yeah, they can use admin@davidhebner.tv.
Admin, like short for administration, at davidhebner.tv. Okay, gotcha. And Shanita, I want to thank everyone out there who's been praying for us and that has been financial warriors to keep us going. We're barely going, but we're going. And I want to thank you guys so much. I appreciate, and we love you all so much. We know who you are because we're small enough that I know almost everybody. I mean, I see your name and I pray over you and I thank God for you. If you'd like to be a monthly partner, financial, donate to the ministry, you can go to davidhebner.tv/give or call Shanita at 844-806-0006. All right, Shanita, I'll see you underground.
Yep.
Love you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lord, for loving us. Thank you for being with us. I'm praying with every name that came out of Shanita's mouth. I'm asking for healing amongst your people, Father. Right now, we're commanding a healing in Jesus' name. We command, demon, you have no right to God's children. You are hereby cast out back into hell. The demon of addiction, the demon of jealousy, loneliness. Thank you, Father, for giving us the power that your son had, transferring it to us. I'm praying for a lady out there. Lord, she's been very depressed. I'm coming against that demon of depression. You have no right to this child. You are cast back into hell. Lord, I'm praying for the father that is trying to get over this addiction. We're coming against that addiction. Praying for the lady that's dealing with this. She's got some bad knees. Commanding a healing. And of course, we pray for our children every week. Protect our children. Any and all children in Jesus' name. All right, I love you guys. Listen, we're not going anywhere. We're just going to take just a 60-second break. I'm going to bring my guest, Jonathan Hay, on. We're going to continue talking about his situation of how he was pistol whipped, held hostage for he and his daughter for 2 hours, who he thinks is behind it. But more importantly, the spiritual realm, the dark forces. I'm going to be talking to him about that. So I want you to join me, but you can only see me on davidhebner.tv. It's members only. Or if you're on Roku, Amazon, Apple TV. All right? So I want you to stay with me. By the way, if you haven't gone to Last Evangelist, go to lastevangelist.com. We're coming out with episode 2, exposing the vax, exposing the V. Go there, consider signing up. Yeah, that's right. Spencer, you got the site up there. show on the site there. Consider becoming you can be an actor, you can be a producer. This is how we're funding it, everyone. So we need your help. Yeah. LastEvangelist.com. It is a great ministry, not because it's mine. It's not mine, it's God's, but it's a way to get to people that normal churches and you can't get to people normally. LastEvangelist.com. All right. Thank you, Spencer. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you. I'll see you in a few minutes on the flip side. David Hebner TV. Love you. You never really lived till you found someone worth dying for, and that's Christ Jesus.